Hi guys, this is Hero. How's everyone doing today? Ajibale Kemcho, Aj Sub Kesuho. So today I'm discussing what to do if you become interested in someone else while you are currently in like a marriage or like some kind of happy relationship, right? Now the reason I'm making this video is because I don't see that many videos made on this, right? Every video when it comes to relationships is focusing on what people want, right? And what people want is, how do I get this relationship, right? How do I get this dream relationship? Because they have all these expectations of how they think their life is going to be like when they get the relationship, right? However, they fail to understand the maintenance required when it comes to receiving this, right? Similarly to how, like, when people say they want to get in shape, right? So they want to lose fat, they want to gain muscle, whatever. Well, if you do the stuff to lose fat, right, which is like eat less and exercise more, that's great. You can lose fat. However, if you stop doing those things, you're going to put on some weight again, right? And similarly, with the opposite for building muscle, right? You can eat all the protein and do all the exercise you want. You stop doing that, it's all going to go away, right? Or, for those of you guys who have a business or know someone who has a business, you can do things to build up your business. However, there are certain things you have to do to maintain your business and make sure they run properly, right? Or else they are all going to fall apart and crumble, and you will not have, your businesses will not make any more money. They will not be successful, right? So similarly here, there are certain things you have to do in order to maintain a healthy and happy relationship once you get it, right? And this is one big area that a lot of people do not consider, right? Because they don't want to consider it, but it really should be considered. Why? Because anything that happens between the two people, right? Which is like anything said, anything done, for the most part, it usually can be forgiven, okay, and moved on. However, if somebody else becomes involved, it becomes a little bit more challenging, right? And the line is usually crossed on how forgivable that is, which I could understand is rightfully so. So it's better when we notice these things to take care of them internally first before they have a possibility of, causing disaster externally, okay? Now, some people are going to have this problem worse than others, right? It's just due to the habits we have mentally, probably mentally and externally a little bit. So the habits we have, as well as genetic factors and energetic factors that we just naturally have, okay? So I'm going to walk us down a little bit about this, right? This is a little bit of an important video, so it might be longer. I don't know. So starting off, so the title of this video was like, if you think about somebody, like when you're with somebody, right? So the one thing you have to understand is, now I'm not married, right? But I could imagine that, let's just say I get married like when I'm 30. And between the ages of 30 and 50, I could imagine that somebody crosses my mind. Okay, I can just foresee it, right? It's just natural. It's going to happen. Okay, in the 20 years of my middle-aged life. What I would encourage you guys to do for someone who is crossing your mind is to understand that whenever your mind or ego wants to think about someone, it's just that. It's the mind or the ego thinking about someone. The mind and the ego is not you. You can, hone in on your more conscious energy and just observe your mind and your ego and say, hey, okay, it's thinking like this. That's great. It doesn't really affect me or what I'm doing, right? It's just kind of doing its thing. It's just, the mind is a tool. The ego is a tool, right? You don't need to identify with the tool. We've been taught to identify with the tool, but we don't need to identify with the tool, okay? So we can just observe, okay, yeah, sure, it's trying to do this, it's trying to bother us with this, great. Now, moving forward, we can also take a few steps to lower because sometimes the mind can be a little bit overwhelming to deal with, right? So in the short term, when we recognize this, yeah, we can say, hey, this is going on, right? However, there's something, and I'm going to get, I'm going to talk a little bit about more short-term steps we can take, right? Because in the moment, we want things to just reduce that fire that it's kind of causing in us, right? That fire of lust or whatever, right? Which I'm going to discuss in a second. But things we can do long-term, just real quick, just to lower that fire, is like just avoid any stimulation, right? There's anything that stimulates you, they kind of gets those energies going. When an external stimulus, like a real external stimulus comes, then it's like that energy is already like ready to go, right? So we don't want that. So we can like try to avoid like social media or TV or adult material that's possibly firing this in us. We can avoid like talking to people who like are always talking about this kind of shit. I think you guys get what I'm trying to say, okay? You can avoid like wearing certain clothes that attract this kind of energy, or hanging out with people of the opposite sex that kind of just give you garbage attention, okay? Even though like you might not be interested, but they're just kind of just subconsciously always kind of keeping that energy going and fueling them. You could stop, right? Now, moving forward, so one other thing that we need to do here is, okay, when the ego or the mind thinks about someone, it's due to at least one of these three reasons, and usually sometimes multiple of these three. It's physical reasons, mental reasons, and emotional reasons, okay? I've talked about this on videos, right? Where like you can watch my video. I know one of them is like my lower chakra theory video, right? Where I basically say the root cause of any problem is basically from, the physical chakra, the emotional chakra, or the mental chakra, like the ego chakra. So you got to see this person, what's kind of drawing you into them from this lower energy, right? Because your higher self is not bringing you to them. This is what Western modern spirituality has possibly trying to throw on the people, right? That if you're thinking about someone a lot, they might be your soulmate, your twin flame, all this kind of bullshit. This is not true, okay? This is absolutely not true. Like, I promise this is not true. Like, I'm like 99% sure this is not true for most of you, which is a very high percentage. So you can just assume that this is not true for you. Don't think that you're the exception here, okay? The 0.01% exception. Now, there's three reasons. Now, you need to objectively, accurately identify which one of these three, or which combination of these three are drawing you to this person, okay? They can either be physically, right? So let's just say this person just knocks your socks off, right? They are just, getting your insides going in a way that no other, like in a way that is just getting your imagination going crazy, right? So you can understand here that you can detach from that energy, okay? Now, I know this is not maybe what you want to do, right? You don't want to do this, but this is the healthiest way forward, in my opinion, okay? I'm not going to tell you things that you just want to hear. I'm going to tell you what ideally is going to make you the most peaceful and grounded in the long term, okay? So you can learn to kind of detach from your body, right? Any sort of sensation, any sort of fancy tickling that, or any sort of, any sort of physical enjoyment that this person may provide you, excitement it's very temporary, okay? And it's very low energy. The physical chakra is literally the bottom one, right? It's not going to produce any sort of long-term happiness, okay? It's just going to come and go. Just like all the thoughts, all the emotions that you feel, they just come and go. Nothing lasts forever, right? You can't just be joyful, like you can't experience joy forever, right? Sometimes sadness is going to come. You can't experience day forever. Sometimes night is going to come. You can't experience no rain forever. Sometimes rain is going to come. You can't experience cold forever. Warm is going to come, right? Same thing here, right? You just need to understand that doing this from a physical perspective is not going to like solve anything in the long run, okay? It's not going to solve anything. It's just going to cause you to further attach to this, right? This is just a physical, like a temporary body, like an avatar, you can almost say, right? It does not represent you. You are not your body. By you giving into this, you are attaching more and more to your body, okay? That's why marriage in general is a very spiritual thing, or it's supposed to be a very spiritual thing, right? But it's not spiritual in the sense of like, oh, I'm just going to attach with this person and all this kind of stuff, right? It's spiritual in the sense of what you're actually detaching from by continuing this lifelong commitment, okay? And there's going to be people that are going to be more attractive than your partner. It's just going to happen. Unless you are the luckiest person in the world that is dating the most attractive person, you are going to fall yourself in this category. Now, like I said, some people have it worse than others, right? Energetic reasons, astrological reasons, habitual reasons, the list goes on, right? Some people are going to have this worse than others, right? Some people can just kind of shove it aside. Some people can't. It's on their mind all day. Regardless, I'd encourage you to do that, because even if you can kind of shove it aside, there might be a point in time where you can't. Okay, there might. So I would encourage you to just do the hard work now rather than when you're forced to. And, you know, there might be a little bit of a learning curve, and we wouldn't want anything, you know, horrific to occur. Okay, so I think you guys kind of get the gist about the physical. Okay, now moving forward is the emotional. This person might make you feel certain things, right? This person might so we tend to express ourselves differently around different people, okay? Now, this person might get you to express a more confident side of yourself, right? You just feel more confident around them, and yeah, you could just be able to express a certain side of yourself that you might not be able to express with too many other people. Okay, so you get attached to this emotion, right, that you feel when you're with this person, and you kind of perceive that, and then your mind kind of goes crazy, right? It becomes attached to this emotion, and then it kind of thinks that you doing this will cause this emotion to perpetuate, like prolong forever, right? It's just how the mind works, right? So we can do two things here. So we can, one, detach from that emotion, and two, we can recognize that we can express that emotion without the stimulus of interacting with this person. Okay, yeah. Like, for example, if we feel confident, right? Let's just say we're around an attractive person, right? You will feel confident, right? I promise. You go out you just talking to them just makes you feel good. It just makes you feel validated, right? And I know a lot of you guys can relate exactly to what I'm saying. I would encourage you to do the hard work and establish inner confidence, or inner confidence, or just actually build up your confidence, right? Not just saying, oh, I'm unconfident, but when I talk to this person, now I feel like the shit, and now, you know what I'm saying? So don't do that, okay? This is not going to end well, and this is what causes a lot of trauma and stuff, okay? Because you relied on something to give you something that was not that grounded, okay? So just detach from that emotion in general, because let's just say you're around someone really attractive, right? And they make you feel confident. Well, you got to understand, everyone has the right to feel confident, right? It's just your ego going crazy, and you have some subconscious beliefs that say, hey, I can't feel confident because I'm not good enough, right? Which is not true. But everyone has the right to feel confident. And once you do that, you can understand, hey, there's actually nothing special about this person. I mean, yeah, sure, everyone's unique and all that kind of stuff. But there's actually, from a superficial level, there's nothing that makes this person more superior than everybody else, right? So that will actually go away. So when you actually fix a problem, you will be happier inside, and you won't be as... These kind of people won't even be on any sort of elevated platform at all. Hey, this is just one example, right? It could be plenty of other things. Like, for example, let's just say you're able to like laugh more easily with this person or something like that. Well, you need to understand, hey, why are you so reserved with everyone, right? Is it because you have some sort of expectations and things like that? You know what I'm saying? Like when you're around, other people, like you just feel like you have to be a certain person. So then you can kind of detach from that expectation that you feel about yourself having to behave a certain way with certain people, and then also on the same token, detach from any sort the enjoyment that that person made you feel, like humor and things like that. Just detach, right? Because you don't want to be attached to any particular sensation or emotion, and then let's see what happens, right? So that's number two. Now number three is the mental, right? Let's just say this person has some high status or a lot of money, right? It's gonna feel like, wow, like I would love to have that. I would love to be a participant in this lifestyle, right? So what you can do is you can also, I might do my favorite thing in the world, which is detach from that expectation as well, right? Your mind is gonna go crazy. It wants to feel cool, right? Let's just say this person has a lot of money, you know, let's just say you don't have a nice car. Your partner doesn't have a nice car, but this person has, a Mercedes or a Maserati or something, right? It's gonna feel nice. Or this person has a boat, right? It's gonna feel cool. You get to take all your little pictures and post them and all this kind of stuff, right? I mean, your mind's going crazy, right? It's like, oh man, this would be lovely, right? But what you want to do is you just want to detach from that, right? You just want to understand that these things don't make you better than anybody else. You're not like you're just giving into nonsense, right? You just think you're above everybody else, which is actually just going to make you more and more unhappy, because it's going to get you more and more in this energetic zone, but there's always going to be people that have more. Okay? So, never going to leave anywhere. What I would recommend you do, it's never going to lead anywhere, excuse me. What I would recommend you do is just detach yourself from that space. Use this thing that you've noticed inside of you as stimulus to detach, not stimulus to keep going in. Okay, use this as like stimulus to say, hey, let's try to detach from this. What is my brain trying to look for here? Okay, oh, it likes this because of this. Okay, fine, let's detach from that. Let's actually do the holistic work and get out fully, not just try to rationally like fight with our brain, like, oh, we shouldn't think this, we shouldn't go with this person for the money, we shouldn't go with this person for the good looks, we shouldn't go with this person because they make us feel good, right? That's not going to work in the long run. Whatever you resist is going to persist. Okay, whatever you suppress is going to just burst out. Maybe not with this person, right? But maybe with another person. Maybe it doesn't even necessarily have to be externally in some sort of affair, but it can just keep boiling inside you and lead to like just endless fights and things like that. Okay, so don't just don't go down that route. Although I can completely understand why you want to go down that route, right? Because it's like, okay, you've been taught like, like you shouldn't be feeling this, but you are. So it's like, okay, let's stop, right? But all you're doing is you're not taking care of the root problem. Okay, you're just trying to just cover it up. Okay, you're just trying to run the other way, right? And that's not going to work. It's going to just keep catching up with you, most likely. Okay, like I said, some people, they might not have to deal with this, right? Just because of habits and just the way they are, genetically, energetically, whatever. But for most people, or a lot of people, and especially a lot of people of our generation, right? Because we spend a lot more time on the screens, and the screens have more stimulus, right? Like a lot of people, like you're looking at a lot of people, everything's a lot of hyper sexualized on the screens and stuff like that, on the media, all kinds of media, social media, uh, like TV shows and stuff like that. So just keep this in mind, okay? That this is going to be probably a problem for a lot of people, okay? That were born like after the year 1990, okay? So even before that as well, possibly. But especially after the year 2000, this is going to be like a huge thing. So just keep this in mind, okay? Do the steps that I just told you, uh, because this is how you're going to actually fix the problem. and actually at the same time also spiritually elevate yourself. But those two go hand in hand, right? This is why marriage and relationships, it's a big spiritual thing, right? It's not just like fun time all the time, right? It requires you to do certain things to keep elevating yourself, okay? Spiritually. That's the whole point of marriage, ideally, okay? This is why all religions recommend it, because like they knew the spiritual value of marriage and what it can do if you like do it properly, right? The right way. So that's it for this video. I went over 20 minutes, but hopefully this at least helped some people. So that's it. All right. If you have any questions or comments, as usual, please feel free to let me know. I know this is a very, very important topic. Okay, so don't feel shy. But until next time, I'll talk to everyone later. Thank you all so much for watching.